Okay, welcome. So we're going to do a beginner class today. So happy to have you. And I did ask you to grab a couple of your yoga props because I'm just going to go through some basics of how to use those. That way, if you're taking a class with somebody else, you know how to incorporate them. Because a lot of times the teachers will say, oh, yeah, use your block whenever you need it. But if you don't know when you need it, then you don't use it. So I'm just going to show you a couple things just before we get started that I think will be helpful. So, and it's okay if you just have one block, but sometimes even having two, you can stack them on top of each other to get even more height. So there's no such thing as using the props too much. They're there to really help and assist. So if you're on a soft surface, even sometimes using the blocks to create a firm foundation for the hands can really help with the wrists. So sometimes even just having the blocks under the hands, if you're on a carpet, can be really helpful. And then if you're in like triangle pose, for example, if you have a hard time getting your hand all the way to the earth, that's when the block comes into play. So you can stack them. So if you imagine that the block is an extension of my hand, it's like now I'm touching the ground. And so that block is what helps us to keep length in the spine. Otherwise, if I'm trying to touch the ground, my spine is rounding and then we don't get the benefit of the pose. So the blocks we use as this extension to help lengthen out the spine and get more out of our yoga shape. And then let me show you one more thing. If you have a tight low back, even just in the Shavasana laying down position, using blocks or a bolster, or even your foam roller under the knees can help to create a little bit of a lift so that it helps to lengthen the low back so that there isn't so much pinching and tightness there. That can be really helpful. And then um, I'll show you just one more thing for the seated position. So what happens is when we come to our meditation, oftentimes, and especially if your hamstrings are tight, we go to sit up. And what happens is that the back is rounded and we're not able to sit up onto the sit bones. And so taking the blocks gives your pelvis space between the earth and your pelvis so that you can sit a little bit taller. Also, you'll notice if the knees are up really high, taking the block between the earth and your pelvis can also create a little bit more space to let the knees relax down, which relaxes the front of these hip flexors, which is also helpful for bringing the spine upright. And again, this idea that there's no such thing as too much support. So if you don't have yoga blocks, you can always use a meditation cushion for that space. And then one more, I'll just show you one more position for meditation, is sitting in this Virasana Hero's pose with the block. So you put the block between your feet and you can either have it on that low setting or the medium setting. I like to do medium. And just put the block right underneath the sit bones. And it gives, again, space to lengthen your spine. Moving forward on the sit bones. So we're not arching the back, but I'm just exaggerating so that you get the concept. And then resting your hands in your lap. So another way to use the block for support. Great, and so we are going to start in our seated meditation. So if you do have a block or a cushion, please feel free. Other ideas, if you don't have these at home, is that you can actually just take a blanket or a towel and wrap it around a foam roller. So that can work. Or some people even have, if you take a couple towels and you roll them very tightly, that's going to create a firm foundation. So you can even sit on something like that. So taking whatever comfortable seat for you, I actually like to take two blocks and put them together for a more wide base. If I'm going to sit cross-legged, Sukhasana, easy seat. And I also want to invite you that yoga is not about trying to get your body to fit into a certain shape. It's about creating a shape with your body that feels good. And that can change over time. It can change on a daily basis, depending how we've been treating ourselves, what food we've been eating, how much sleep we've been getting, our hormones, where we are in our cycle. So all of those things can really impact, how flexible we feel, how alert we feel, how much energy we have. And so this is an opportunity in the yoga practice to just really become more self-aware and more present for what is available. So we'll start with our meditation. You don't always have to close the eyes. I think there's this idea that we have, or an expectation that we have, what it means to meditate. Let's just use this meditation practice today as an invitation to become more aware of our body in space. And so if the eyes are open, you can scan your surroundings. One thing that's really important for the foundation of meditation and mindfulness is feeling safe. And so sometimes if we do have a history of trauma, or we're overcoming grief or an injury, it can be hard to get into that place of comfort and security. So using the eyes, the vision, can be really helpful sometimes in creating that sense of knowing where you are in space, feeling safe. And then, if and when you do feel safe and you'd like to close your eyes, you start to shut the lids as an opportunity to come more fully present with what's going on inside. And then we take that scan of our inner landscape. So, this is how we work with our nervous system rather than against it. We're not trying to force ourselves into stillness or force ourselves into silence. It's saying, what feels comfortable for me right now? What experience am I willing to have? And then creating the structure so that you can relax and release into that experience, removing the expectations, removing perfectionism. And the more you start to create these small opportunities to become present, the more familiar you'll become with your body's pattern for releasing, unwinding. And a couple minutes in, maybe your breath has slowed. Maybe you've started to slouch so you can bring a little bit more energy into the spine to sit tall. And we use our skeleton, this dense part of our body, to create the structure for the muscles and the soft tissues to relax. There's also an honoring of our flexibility and our authentic range of motion, however that shows up each day, each practice, knowing that our body has those limits as a way to create protection. So rather than trying to push past how our body is protecting us, how can we work with it? Again, creating that safety and security, showing our body that it's safe to relax and move into that parasympathetic nervous system response. And we'll move into a period of silence here, just about 2 minutes. And there's no wrong way to do this. It's not about controlling anything or commanding anything. We're just starting with that willingness to be present, willingness to feel the breath. And then I'll call you back. Keeping your eyes closed. Bring your attention to your third eye center. So this is the area just right at the center of your forehead, almost creating a triangle between your eyes and the forehead. And then we'll draw a diagonal line through the skull to the base of the skull, that occiput, that little bony ridge at the bottom of your skull, top of the neck, seat of your intuition. Allow your shoulders to hang away from your ears while you feel that stability through the center line of your body, sitting upright. Before we come into movement, we're just going to take a couple, some energetic clearing with some breathing. So we'll just imagine, so using visualization, which is a tool of imagining that you can see something happening. It's like you're watching a movie behind your own lids there. We'll draw energy up the front of the body with the inhale, like you're climbing a mountain, and then exhale, let energy move down the back body, down your spine like a waterfall as you exhale. And breathing in up the front body. Up and over, spilling behind, flowing all the way down back into the earth. You can imagine your energy moving as a color, a sense of warmth or a vibration, frequency. Exhaling. We'll do one more. Inhale, draw energy up. Exhale, clearing, releasing, letting go. And now we'll bring our hands heart center, Anjali Mudra. So your palms are glued towards each other, this prayer position. And then you can press your thumbs right into the sternum, feeling a connection between your body and your hands. Calling on an intention, mantra, motivation, dedication, inspiration, something that feels good, maybe even an affirmation. If you don't have one, we'll use I am safe. Slowly releasing your hands. We're going to use the playlist now if you have it. So you're playing that on a separate device than how you're watching class. And if you're ready, we're going to press play in 3, 2, 1, play. And we'll move our blocks off to the side. And let's start in child's pose. So we're going to keep it pretty simple today so we can move through some of the basics here. Knees come pretty wide, toes are touching. Here's another area pose. If you have a hard time getting your hips back, you can always put the block there. You can also use a block if you have a hard time getting your head down to the earth to rest under the forehead. Otherwise, hips draw back towards the feet, and you're creating space between your legs to let your torso drop to the earth. And we'll just take 2 breaths here. You can feel how your lungs fill, pressure against your thighs. Slow release of the breath. Relax the back of your neck. On your next inhale, we're going to draw the body forward to a tabletop position. Shoulders over wrists, hips over knees. If your knees are sensitive, you can always fold over the mat. I like to do it just like this. Or you can grab an extra towel or a blanket. And then we're going to start with hip circles. So we're just drawing the hips around the knees. And right now, we already want to turn on the hands. So the fingers are spread really wide. This is going to prepare for when we go into downward dog. Inhale forward. Exhale back. Slow movement here. So we're matching our movement to our breath. We're not slowing down our breathing to try to Match the movement, but the other way. Breath leads us. The breath is this bridge between the areas of our body where we can feel and we have that proprioception, and the areas of our body where we don't have the nerve response. Okay, other direction with the hips. And so even though we're focusing on the hips moving around here, we're also getting that lubrication, that warming up in the wrists. So really make sure that you're pressing every knuckle and every piece of your hand glued to the mat. Two more. Okay, back towards center. We're going to do cat cow. So spread the fingers, drop your belly. You can take your gaze towards the top of the mat or up towards the sky. Cow pose. Exhale, cat pose. Draw your belly button towards your spine. Create that arc shape. Drop your head. Inhale, neutral or drop the belly. We're just rounding and arching the spine. So we're creating space between the vertebra and we're also starting to wake up the core. Can you turn your elbows to face each other here? So already starting to open up at the shoulder joint. Last one. Inhale, neutral spine. We're going to stick our right foot back in the mat and just pulse through that heel. So we're starting to open up the ball of the foot, back of the leg, the Achilles, the calf. If you're on a soft surface and your wrists are sensitive, you can always try coming up onto fists like so. That really helps me. If you're on a hard surface, just really spreading your fingers wide. Okay, drop your right knee next to the left, and we're going to stick the other foot at the back of the mat. Are you breathing? We're keeping it simple here. And in the torso, it's like we're creating that plank shape. So you can lift your belly already here. Co-contraction. So the front body and back body are working together. And back of your head pressing towards the sky. Let's drop left knee next to the right, come back to your center, and we're going to take 3 cat-cow, your own pace, your own rhythm, arching and rounding the spine. If you're hypermobile, sometimes just coming towards that neutral spine is enough. You don't have to take it too far. So again, that idea of our range of motion, really respecting what feels good in the body. Sometimes just because you can go that far doesn't mean that you should. Okay, neutral spine. This time, kick the right foot back just like we did, but you're going to spin the foot down, coming to a side plank variation. So balancing on that left hand, right hand comes up towards the sky, or you can rest that right hand on the hip. Yep, you got it. Really drawing energy up from that back foot. If you want to add on, we're going to take that top arm and thread the needle. So we're just diving under. Otherwise, if you're just working your balance, stay where you are. Inhale up. Exhale, thread the needle. Inhale up. One more. Okay, we're going to move through our high plank position to come to the other side. Drop the right knee, coming to your side plank variation, other side. Good. Set yourself up, feel that balance. Lots of energy through the left foot. So really gluing it down. And then if you want to add on, thread the needle, exhale. Inhale up. Lengthen the spine, looking good. Exhale, dive under. Inhale, reach. Exhale. and creating strength. Every time we work a balance in the body, it's also helping for sorry, my Alexa is like talking out of nowhere. We are creating this anti-aging quality in the brain. Okay, high plank. Child's pose again, knees wide, toes touching. You can come up onto tented fingertips, so lift your wrists up, lift the elbows up. Plant your hands to the earth. We're going to move towards downward dog. So the toes tuck under and you lift your hips into this upside down V shape. Your feet are the distance, hip distance, which is about 2 fists between your feet. You want your wrists to ideally be in parallel to the top of the mat so you can look at your hands. And you also want the hands to be about shoulder distance apart. Okay, child's pose. This time, wrap your arms around your body so that your hands cup your heels. You can reach there. And let the arms just fall at your sides, feeling that weighted quality of the upper arm. Okay, reach your arms back out in front of you. Inhale, tabletop. This time we're going to take shoulder circles here. So we're dropping our heart through the shoulders and creating movement at the scapula. See if you can keep your belly lifted so the core is engaged rather than dropping down. So we're not doing the cat-cow, we're just moving our shoulders. Might feel a little bit awkward, that's okay. Keep the arms straight so that the movement's really coming from the shoulder blade. Okay, tuck your toes, downward dog. So look at your hand and find that triangle between your thumb knuckle, the wrist, and your index knuckle. So there's a triangle there. Thumb knuckle, wrist, and index knuckle. You're going to press more through that part of the hand to create stability for your shoulders. It'll also allow you to relax your neck a little bit more, let your head hang down. And if your low back is sensitive or your hamstrings are tight, it's okay to bend your knees. Stick your tail towards the sky so you're flipping your sit bones up to create more length for your spine. Press back into that triangle around the thumb. Okay, bend your knees, walk your feet towards your hands. It's okay to have the knees bent here. We're going to halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. We're lengthening out the spine. The hands can come to the shins. Exhale, forward fold, folding at the hips. Inhale, halfway lift again. Straighten out your spine. Waking up the core. Exhale. Last one. This time we're going to roll up so you can bend your knees a little bit, starting at the base of the spine. Head is going to be the last thing to come up. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's take 3 shoulder circles. Inhale. Exhale. Good. Inhale up. Exhale around and down. Last one. Float those arms all the way up. Hands to your heart. Tadasana. This is mountain pose. Hands at your sides. You can flip your palms face forward. Feet are hip distance. If you're not sure where hip distance is, take your fists, put them next to each other, and then just check it out. Mine are a little bit wider. That's okay. We just start to learn what that means for you, hip distance. Tadasana, mountain pose. Good. Chest is lifted. Legs are pretty straight here. We're actually taking this thigh bone and pushing it backwards. So it's as if we had something between the legs and we were imagining pushing that thing straight through like a mail slot. That's going to help turn on that part of the leg that helps to ground the femur. It's actually a slight internal rotation to really activate that part of the leg. It's a lot of work. One more breath, full body posture. Arches are lifted, tailbones dropped. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Halfway lift, inhale. Exhale, plant your hands. We're going to step one foot back and then the other, high plank. It's okay to drop the knees. And then we're going to lower our body to the earth. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Baby cobra. You're just going to lift your chest. You either want to have your hands under the shoulders or slightly back. Legs are straight, toes are touching the mat. 2 more. Inhale. Exhale, release it down. Good. Lift the back of the heart. Last one. Exhale, release it down. Child's pose. Take your knees wide. Downward dog, tuck your toes, lift your hips. You can play around with the placement of the hands. So if you need to turn the hands out slightly because that feels better, that's okay. Sometimes when we're just learning, we need to create more space while we're gaining strength. So you can also play around with taking your hands as wide as the mat. Does that help the shoulders? Does that help you to relax your neck? Do you need to bend the knees? So just get to play around with it a little bit. Again, we're not forcing our body into a box. We're creating space for stability. Okay, child's pose again. One breath here. We're going to snake our body forward back to that cobra. Lifting the heart. Exhale down. This time, let's add on the shoulder circle. So your shoulders are coming up towards your ears. And then as the shoulders move towards the ceiling, naturally it peels that upper chest off the mat. Exhale, release. One more. Get the shoulders involved. Pause. Squeeze your elbows towards your body. Straighten out the legs a little bit more. Hold here. Can you create length towards the back of the neck so that you're not cranking the neck too much? It's okay if it's a small movement. We're creating stability at the upper core, upper spine. And even though your belly's touching the mat, can you create a little bit of lift there at the low belly to protect the spine? Exhale, release everything down. Couple choices here. We're moving towards downward dog. You can either go through child's pose, reverse plank, or peel your body up. So I'll show all three. Peeling the body up means you start with your hands under your shoulders and you just press like a reverse push-up all the way up. A reverse plank looks like this. You're actually going to take your hands a little bit further behind, not directly under the shoulders, but a little bit further back. The legs are going to be straight. And we're going to push up, reverse plank, downward dog. And then always appropriate, moving through child's pose. So you bring those knees wide. Exhale back. Inhale here. Exhale, downward dog. So anytime you're in a class and they say vinyasa, you can always take that child's pose variation. So let's try it again. We're going to come towards high plank. Lower your body to the earth. We're doing our vinyasa right now. Baby cobra. Exhale. And then on your way to downward dog, your version. I'll go through child's pose. Let's do it 2 more times. Inhale, high plank. We're going to move through a vinyasa, lower your body to the earth. So you can either drop your knees, or if you're taking that full chaturanga, you move forward all the way down. Instead of upward dog, we're doing our cobra. Inhale, Bhujangasana. Exhale. On your way, your version downward dog. And let's just do it one more time. Vinyasa, inhale, high plank. Chaturanga, or lower your body. Baby cobra instead of upward dog. Exhale. Through child's pose on your way to downward dog. Great. And you can see we don't have to do a lot to create warmth in the body, to create heat and strength. Let's bring the feet together. Lift your right leg high. Draw your knee towards your nose. If this is too much, you can drop your left knee so that you're in your tabletop. Inhale, reach that right leg back up. Exhale, round it forward. We're going to do one more. Inhale, reach. Exhale, knee to nose. Pause. We're going to step that right foot forward. We're coming to warrior one. So take our time to set this up. Keep your hands down. Take your left foot over to the left. Now you're going to spin it at a 45-degree angle. And I actually have these lines on my mat. That's why I decided to use this mat today. And then keep your hips low as you lift your torso. You can bring hands to the hips even. You're really sitting into that front leg, and then you can add on your arms. Looking good. Warrior one. So what happens when we're in this pose, teachers say, square your hips. If you imagine you have headlights on the front of your hips, let's be real, they're never going to face all the way forward. So there is a quality of efforting towards that. But here's a trick. The more you open things up, the more space there is to actually do that, because we have hips. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, hands to your heart, hands to your hips. Inhale, reach it up. We'll do that one more time. Exhale, hands to your heart, hands to your hips. Back leg super straight. Inhale. Exhale, hands to your heart. And then we'll bring your hands to the earth. We're going to pop the back heel up. So it's like a crescent lunge right now. And we're going to take an easy twist. So the back leg stays super straight, right hand to the sky, left hand stays on the earth. This is an opportunity to use the block if you need it. And if you have any shoulder issues, just take your hand to your hip. Straighten that back leg even more. Hands to the earth. Okay, we're going to move through a vinyasa on your way to downward dog. So we'll come to that plank position, lower your body to the earth. Baby cobra. Exhale, child's pose on your way. Take your breath. Okay, feet come together, left leg lifts. What's happening with your hands? Can you press into that thumb side, knee to nose, and round it forward? Inhale, reach it up. Drop the right knee if you need to modify. Exhale, rounding. Inhale, lift. Exhale, round. Pause. Step it forward. You can use your hand to assist the leg forward, and then set yourself up slowly. There's no rush. Right foot goes over to the right. Spin it down, 45-degree angle. Lower your hips, hands to your hips. Lift your torso. Inhale, add on your arms. So we're sitting into the front leg, back leg super, super straight. Can you start to coax that right hip forward, but not cranking too much? Helping to engage through the pelvis. Hands to your heart. Hands to your hips. Inhale, reach. Matching movement to breath. Exhale. Hands to your hips. Inhale, reach it up. Back leg super straight. Hands to your heart. This time, hands to the earth, pop the back heel up, like a runner's lunge here. And easy twist, left hand to the sky. Use your block if you need it. Lots of energy through that right heel. Okay, hands to the earth. We're moving through a vinyasa. You can lower your knees and then lower your body to the earth. Baby cobra. Exhale, downward dog. This time, we're going to step towards warrior two. So we'll take the right foot forward. You're going to put that foot in the center line of the mat. Bend the back foot down. It's going to be mostly parallel to the back of the mat, but turned in slightly. And then we'll add on the arms. So the stance is pretty wide, and then arms open up, reaching forward and back. And then you take your gaze over those front fingertips. Good. Everybody looks really strong. We're going to straighten the front leg, reach the arms up. Yep, you got it. And just sit back into your warrior two. We're just activating through that front leg. Inhale, straighten the front leg, arms reach up. Exhale, sit into it. Last one, inhale. Exhale, warrior two, pause. We're going to spin our arms all the way to the earth. We're coming to that same runner's lunge. You might need to walk your right foot over to the right side of the mat. Easy twist. Right hand to the sky. Hands to the earth, vinyasa. Slow motion. Inhale, lift your heart. Exhale, on your way to downward dog. Okay, left foot steps, warrior two, other side. So we're intersecting our front heel all the way down through the center of the mat, through the arch of the right foot. Wide stance, open up those arms, one arm reaching forward, one arm reaching back. Sit into it, super straight back leg. Inhale, straighten the front leg, arms reach up. Exhale, sit into it. Inhale, reach. Exhale. Last one, inhale. Exhale, sit into that front leg, pause. Spin your arms all the way to the mat. Walk the left foot over slightly so you can come to your runner's lunge, easy twist. The left arm to the sky. Good. Take your right shoulder away from the right ear. Super straight back leg. Holding here, you got it. Hands to the earth, vinyasa, your version. This time we're stepping the right foot forward and we're going to come to our wide leg stance, Prasarita. So you actually take both hands over to the left. Both legs are straight here. You can even take your block with you. Wide leg, you got it. And then turn your toes in slightly. Perfect. Legs are super straight. Spine is long, so take as much height as you need. And then exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Pause here. We'll take our hands over to the right. So if you're using the blocks, you can take them with you. If you don't need them, you can grab your right ankle. And then take your torso over to the left. See if you can prioritize length in the spine rather than how far or how close you're getting your nose towards your knee. Come back to the center. Bend the knees. Take your hands to your hips. Inhale, stand tall. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, grab your fist packet at the low back. So you're interlacing your hands. If that's too much, you can just grab one wrist. Inhale, straighten the arms. Reach your chest up. Exhale, bend at the elbows. Inhale, straighten the arms. Exhale, bend the elbows. If you're able to, take that fist packet away from the low back. Exhale, bend. Last one, this time we're gonna straighten out the arms. Inhale, reach the chest up, and then exhale, dive forward. Take your wrists and hands away from the low back. You can twist a little bit if it's comfortable. Now release your hands to the earth. We're gonna take our left hand in front of our face. I'll mirror you. You can use the block. And then we're twisting towards the right. You can take your right hand to your right hip. See if you can keep equal energy through both legs. So less important how far you twist, more important, can you keep your legs strong and your spine long? Two more breaths. Exhale through the center, bend both of your knees. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, bend, hands to your hips, stand tall. Bend your knees and then lift all the way up. Inhale, arms come up. Exhale through the mouth, clear your energy. Inhale through the nose one more time. Exhale. Take your fist packet, but take the opposite grasp so that the other thumb is in front. It's okay to have a slight bend in the knees. Inhale, straighten out your arms. Exhale, bend. Inhale, straight. Exhale, bend. Lift your heart, last one. Exhale, dive it forward. Take those hands away from the low back. Gives a nice stretch for the front of the shoulders, back of the neck. It's okay if your legs are bent. If you want to add on and take a little bit of a twist, that's okay. Release everything to the earth. We're coming to the other side. So right hand in front of your face, twisting towards the left. So when we strengthen the legs and keep equal weight, if you want to take your hand to the hip or the low back, that's okay. When we keep equal weight through both feet, it also helps to keep the pelvis level. So as if you were going to be able to balance a little mug at the back of your sacrum. And then if you have really tight hamstrings, just try bending the knees a little bit, and that might help you to turn on the thighs. Exhale everything through the center, bend your knees. Inhale, halfway lift, hands to the hips. Exhale, fold it forward. Stand all the way up. Inhale, arms float up. Exhale through the mouth. The last one, inhale. Exhale through the mouth. You can give a little noise. Ah. And we're going to twist towards the front of the mat. Take your left foot over to the left. Take your block with you. So let's actually just hold on to the block. If you just have your water bottle, grab that. It'll work. We're going to take our right hand to the hip. Take that left arm all the way up with the block. And then we're keeping a flat back as we come towards our pyramid pose. So we're not rounding. Flat back. and then come to the earth. If you need to use 2 blocks, you can stack them. You can also take your legs wider. Sometimes taking the legs wider gives a little bit more space. And if you still feel like you're just way too far from touching the mat, you can take both hands to your hips and just practice that flat back right here. That's enough, you're working. And the same idea of headlights on the front of the hips, just pointing forward. Both legs working. And sometimes after you've hung out there, you'll find more space. Okay, we're gonna come towards standing split. So we're gonna pop that back heel up, hands to the earth, stick your left foot all the way to the sky. And then we're gonna exhale, Shiva squat. Just tap your left knee behind the right. Inhale, reach. We'll do that 2 more times. Exhale. A lot of work, but this one can really help to lengthen the hamstring. Inhale. Exhale, chair pose. Stamp your left foot next to your right. You can take your hands to the heart, hands to the hips, or hands reaching all the way up. Inhale, stand tall, extended mountain pose. Exhale, hands to your heart. Tadasana, mountain pose. Let's face palms forward. Pause here and just move the hands facing your body, facing your thighs. Reach your fingertips down towards the earth so that you create more space between your ears and your shoulders. Good. One more breath. We're really working those legs. Inhale, reach it up. Exhale, dive it forward. Halfway lift. Step it back, downward dog. Or if you want to move through a vinyasa, go ahead. That's your high plank, lowering your body to the earth. But sometimes we don't need another vinyasa, and that means you can just inhale, high plank, exhale, downward dog. So let's try that one time. Modified vinyasa, inhale, high plank, exhale, downward dog. Let's do 2 more. Vinyasa, inhale, high plank. So if you take this variation, exhale, it just means you're going to hang out in downward dog a little bit longer, but you're still going to keep up with the class. Inhale, high plank, vinyasa. Exhale, downward dog. Perfect. This time we're going to step the left foot forward, taking our prasarita to the other side. I'm going to actually face you. Bend your knees, halfway lift, hands to the hips. Exhale, fold. This time we're going to move towards goddess. So you're going to turn your feet out, drop your hips, and then we're going to inhale star. So straighten your arms, straighten your legs. Exhale, goddess or horse stance, hands to the heart. Looks like a yogi squat. Inhale, star. Exhale, sit into it. 2 more. Pause. See if you can draw your knees towards the back of the mat, or back of the room behind you. We're pressing the knees out. Let's actually take our elbows inside the knees here and use our elbows, personal assist, to create space. Yeah, so you're really pressing these elbows, into the legs. Does that feel better? And you can rock your hips side to side. You're getting that inner thigh stretch. You got it. Now bring length to your spine as you do this. Are you breathing? You can pause in the middle. You can also play around with twisting and taking one shoulder forward or one shoulder back. Maybe taking the hands inside the knees, whatever feels good. Yeah, it's okay if you need a little bit of a stretch. Just do what feels good in your body. Just creating that length. So it's normal. Sometimes you need to get a little adjustment and get back into it. Okay, I'm going to turn around so that I'm facing the same direction as you, because we're going to move towards that Pyramid, straighten the legs, pivot towards the top of the mat. Take your block with you. So your block is in your right hand. You are not standing on a balance beam right now. The left foot is over to the left, right foot over to the right. Pyramid, back foot is at a 45-degree angle. Now you're taking your flat back, stacking your blocks. Remember, our priority is length in the spine. So even if you're going to hang out here, that's okay. Super strong legs. Finding that little shelf at the back of the sacrum by keeping equal energy through both legs. And maybe you have space to go a little further. Once you've gone as far as you can, it is okay to round your spine at the end of the pose. Taking your standing split. So you can use your blocks to lift that back leg high, or hands to the earth. Going deeper, you're going to take your hands to the ankle or behind the shin. But until you're ready for that, just start to walk your hands back. Shiva squat. Exhale, bend both knees. Tap right knee behind the left. Inhale up like you're going to cross your legs. Inhale up. Exhale, bend. Inhale up, chair pose. Stamp your right foot next to the left, like you're sitting in a chair. Inhale, stand tall, Tadasana, mountain pose. Hands to your heart, hands at your sides. Palms face forward. Lots of energy through the balls of the feet. If it's comfortable for you to bring your legs together, you can join the insides of the feet, inner arches, big toes, and then drawing energy through the center of the body. Slight lift here, like there's a string just lifting your heart up. I find for my body, it feels better for me to have the feet hip distance. Tadasana, mountain pose. You're working those legs. Last breath. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, we're going to sit all the way down. And then roll your spine down. Knees are bent. And then we're going to take our half bridge. So feet on the earth. Lift your hips. Exhale, roll through your spine. Grab your block. Sorry, I should have told you to take it with you. Take your block between your thighs. And then now, lift your hips again. Half bridge, Setu Bandha, Sharvangasana. Exhale all the way down. Take your feet a little bit closer to your hips and just see what that feels like. Also, play around with the block. What does it feel like when you have it between the thighs versus the knees? So you can feel a difference, which muscles engage depending where you're putting your block. Exhale, roll through the spine, upper spine, mid spine, low back. So you're really taking it each vertebra at a time. Keep your gaze towards the sky. We don't want to turn our head when we're doing this technique. Couple more, your pace, your rhythm. Let your breath guide you up and then guide you down. Okay, we'll take our block off to the side, right foot up like a hamstring stretch. And then we're just going to cross it over. It's not a figure four. It's just like a regular cross leg position. Like you're crossing your leg, like you're sitting and sitting cross-legged, exactly. And now we're going to let the knees fall to the left. Now, here's a place where I actually really like to use the block, and I'll just put it right under the knee. So we're coming into a twist. So you're letting your knees fall to the earth, or you're using that block. And then arms are either to a T, or I like to take both arms over to the opposite direction. So both arms over to the right. And then you can let your gaze follow Only if that's comfortable. You don't have to take your neck into it. You can keep your gaze towards the ceiling. So right here, we're really practicing a surrender, letting your body get heavy with gravity, giving your body that permission to let go, to melt. To come out of it, we're going to roll all the way back to the left. So take your arms over to the left. You're laying on your side, and then you take your body in one piece back over to the center of the mat. Unwind the legs, left foot up, cross it over, and then, yeah, sometimes you need to adjust the hips over to the left. That's okay. We're letting our knees fall to the right. You can take your block with you if you like using it. Otherwise, it's fine to take your knees all the way to the earth. And then arms up and over or to a T. Same thing here as before. Priority is length in the spine. Are you okay for another 5 minutes? Okay, perfect. Couple more breaths, letting your body surrender. So it's that, again, the density of your bones, earthing, grounding, knowing that any to-do lists or things that are coming into your mind right now will still be there later. Can you bring all of your attention towards your body and your breathing? To come out of it, rolling all the way onto your right side. So take your arms up and over. So now our spine is not twisted, and we take our body in one piece back over. You can feel the side edges of the mat with your hands to kind of get yourself in the middle. Unwind the legs. Let's draw both knees towards the chest here. And then hug it in. And if it's comfortable, draw your forehead towards your knees, tight, tight, tight like a ball. Exhale, release it. Inhale, exhale, squeeze. Two more. Inhale, release. Exhale, squeeze. Tight, tight, tight. Let's hug the right knee in, plant the left foot on the earth, or extend the left leg long. Let your head, neck, and shoulders relax to the earth. If this is too much for you, you can use the strap or just grab behind the thigh. And you can always have that left leg planted. So I'm showing the modification right now. And now I'm going to show that full expression or deeper expression if you need more stretch. If you're not feeling it enough, you can take it further. So yoga is created to meet our body. There's nothing wrong with our flexibility or range of motion. Let's switch to the other side. Left knee in, right leg plant, right foot plants, or lengthen that leg long. And so using our props, our blocks, our straps, this is just another way that we make the shapes accessible for our body. Because if you have a body and you can breathe, you can do yoga. And you can take things that you learn in one class and apply them when you're in another class. That's one of the beauties of trying out different teachers too, is you learn a little something different everywhere you go. One more breath. Okay, let's take the left foot towards the sky, and we're going to take a figure 4 before we finish. So we're going to fold that leg in front of the right knee, flex your left foot. Yep, so the leg that is bent and folded, we're going to flex that foot. And when we flex that foot, it helps to engage through the lower leg to protect the knee. Pausing here, if you have a deep enough stretch, you can take your left hand onto your left knee to coax it away from you, or thread the needle. Left hand through the gap, grabbing behind the thigh or in front of the shin. Otherwise, we're just going to pause here. Yeah. And let your head, neck, and shoulders relax to the earth if you're taking that threading of the needle. Oftentimes, people go straight into that when this is enough. So when we meet ourselves in the moment, we get to decide, do I need to go further? Okay, switching to the other side. So left foot towards the sky, plant the foot, right foot up, figure 4. Flex out your right foot, right hand, right knee. And you're creating that personal assist, pushing the knee away. I know we didn't use the strap today, but I do use the strap in many of my other classes. So if you're wanting to do some strap work, you can always check out some of my other classes. Really helpful for tight hamstrings. If you want to thread the needle, adding on. Sometimes in this figure 4, you can even just play around with the placement of the pelvis, so tucking and arching the low back. Maybe even coming up onto the ball or heel of the left foot to see how that changes the stretch. Maybe rocking side to side. If you have a foam roller, remember this shape because you can sit up on a foam roller taking your figure 4 and then rock side to side when you're on that foam roller and get a really deep stretch for the side of your hip. Okay, unwind, right foot to the sky. Plant your foot. Let's take that tight, tight, tight ball one more time. Draw your knees in, Apanasana. Tight, tight, tight. And then we're going to extend our legs long for our Shavasana, resting pose. If you want, you can grab those blocks or a rolled up towel or a pillow. If you don't have any support and your low back feels sensitive, take your feet as wide as the mat and then let your knees touch in the center. Yeah, so the feet come. If you only have one block, that's probably going to be your best option if your low back is sensitive. If your back feels fine with your legs long, you can just go ahead and take that corpse pose, Shavasana. Palms will face up, so that helps to externally rotate our arms. The elbows are going to tuck a little bit closer to the body than the hands. And if it's available, you can tuck one shoulder blade under and then tuck the other shoulder blade under, just creating a little bit more space around the collarbones, upper chest, upper lobes of the lungs. And then we use softening of the belly to create space for those lower lobes of the lungs. The work is done. Now it's time to just rest, let your body integrate. And we're going to take about 2 minutes here. Keeping your eyes closed, invitation to take a couple deeper full body breaths, really filling up your belly, that inflation of the lungs. And then exhale, releasing it. Continuing like that or adding on. We'll draw energy up through the left side of the body. So starting at your left foot, exhaling right side down the right side of the body. And then again, in, up through the left. Exhale through the right, bottom of the foot, palm of the hand. 2 more breaths. Release any control of the breath that you have, and we'll start to bring movement into the body. You're still breathing, but just that natural pace, natural rhythm. And you can start to wiggle out, move the body. When you're ready, you'll start to move towards that upright posture. And let your head hang down. So oftentimes we kind of pop up, but we don't want to get lightheaded. So if you just let your head hang down, give your heart a chance to pump that oxygenated blood through the body. And then as you find your comfortable seat, eyes still closed, if that's comfortable. And then stacking shoulders over your hips, and then you bring your chin level as your last step. Hands to your heart. And coming back to your intention. I am safe. You can carry that mantra with you as you move through the rest of your day, or maybe moving through this evening towards sleep. Knowing that at any moment, at any time, you can always come back to your body, your breath, centering, grounding, aligning with integrity so that you can show up for yourself and in turn better show up for others. We'll breathe together one time to seal the practice. Exhale to prepare. And breathing in. And breathing out. Thank you. So great to have you here for that beginner's class. I'm always open to your feedback and suggestions and requests. So always feel free to message me or drop it in the comments if you're watching the replay on YouTube. And would love to have you again. So take care, eat nourishing foods, hydrate your body, and just keep moving.